Every year, the best streaming stuff gets just a little bit better, which means that every year, the budget streaming stuff gets just a little bit cheaper. I want to show you some stuff. Streamers who are looking to make their streams a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging, and also make a little bit more revenue. This video's sponsor, Tangia, helps make your streams more interactive with things called, well, interactions. Last time we talked about Tangia, I told you about how to make your own custom TTS using your own voice in a couple minutes.
I'm convinced this is not an AI speaking, but I may be biased.
This time I want to let you know that you can even make your own custom interactions that can either be full screen or small sections called spot interactions, where your viewers can even choose where these interactions show up on stream. With Tangia, streamers can also enable sound bites, which allows viewers to turn your clips from your stream into redeemable audio interactions, and it only takes the viewer 2 clicks to do that. So, careful what you say, streamers.
Everything you put in your mouth has a value to it.
There was important context to that.
I'm gonna need you to not clip that.
You can even have Tangia parties, which give your viewers a dono goal. And once that goal is reached, a random Tangia party with music and fun overlays starts. It's a great way to give your viewers an incentive and also rewards for hitting some of these goals. So go to tangia.co or just click the link in the description down below and sign up today. Make your stream a little bit more fun for you and for your viewers and make a little bit more revenue in the process. So I had one job for this video. My job here was to find the cheapest stream that you could possibly make while also not sacrificing a terrible amount of quality. Something that is feasible for a brand new streamer to afford, but also feel like they fit in the Twitch space with the constant rising bar of quality over there. And also, to make it even more fun, this is the first part of a 3-part series, where this one, we do insane budget, as cheap as I can make it. And the next one, let's talk about mid-tier setups. And in the third part, let's test if the sky is truly the limit, and let's see how far we can take a professional budget stream without completely destroying my bank account. So if you're interested in seeing those future videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you there. I feel like it'd be a good time. But I've got 3 main setups for you today, covering the 3 main aspects of a good quality broadcast. So 3 different cameras, 3 different microphones, and 3 different lighting setups. In fact, this is one of them right now, and it's actually the cheapest one of the group of 3. So if you like the way this looks and sounds, I got good news for you. This cost, hold on a second, gotta do some math, $80. This is an $80 setup. Let's call this setup number 1, and let's explain exactly what this is. So this setup right now, the camera I'm using is an iPhone. My iPhone, actually, the one out of my pocket, so I didn't have to buy a camera. All I had to do was buy an $8 app called Epoch Cam. The microphone I'm using is the Razer Siren Mini, which I'm using the pink one, which is super dope. It's like Pepto-Bismol mic. I've never said that out loud before, which is $50 on Amazon right now, but the black version is actually available at the time of this filming for $37. So far, bringing the total up to $45. And then I'm using a 2-foot by 2-foot softbox. And while this isn't a super cheap softbox, you can get another 2-foot by 2-foot softbox for $35. And I'll link to all these things down below. Those will be Amazon affiliate links. So if you pick up some of these things, thank you. You're supporting the channel. I like this setup a lot. There are pros and cons to this setup. Some of the pros being that you get to use like a $1,000 camera without buying an extra camera. It's $8. The microphone, everything is super cheap. So this is an incredibly cheap setup. Also, I'm only using a single light where most people use 2 at the same time, but I'm using it properly to get some really moody lighting and some proper shadows on my face. This generally works better if you have a little bit of dim fill on the other side of you. So I've got some low LED lights over there. You can kind of see some of them, and they're making it so the side of me is not completely black. But I only had to buy 1 light. I get some really cool lighting, and the whole setup's only $80. So what do you say we jump to setup number 2? Setup number 2, probably my least favorite out of the 3. My favorite's actually coming up next. But in terms of quality, this is clearly the worst, but in terms of convenience, it's definitely the best. And you know what? If you just want to go live and let people see you without worrying about perfect quality, nobody's judging you here. It's not like no one's ever made it to the top with a seriously scuffed quality stream. The camera I'm using right now is the Logitech C920, which is kind of the classic entry-level camera amongst streamers. It used to be really the only thing that you could do if you wanted to get started. That's not the case anymore, but there is a certain level of convenience to being able to set up your webcam at your stream setup and then never touch it again and know it's going to work every time you go live, versus using your phone, which you're going to have to set up every single time, and you're not going to have your phone while you're streaming. So that's the convenience factor that I was talking about earlier. This microphone is the 5 fine condenser mic. I don't think it sounds as good as the other mic, but it's $7 cheaper is a $30 microphone. And then the lights, as I found out while setting up, may not have been the best match for this because this is actually as dim as they go and it's still blowing out the webcam. But these are panel lights, the LED panel lights. LED panel lights have some downsides to them. For one, they get a little bit more expensive. For example, a 2 pair of these right here that you're looking at are, I want to say, like $175. Now, that's cheaper than an Elgato key light, which is $200 a pop, but that's still a major step up from a $35 softbox or 2 for $70. The convenience factor about them, however, is that they're really thin. So if you're gaming with your desk against the wall, which is where most people have it, you don't have a lot of room for really deep soft boxes. And you can put something like this and either mount it to your desk or you can put it on a stand on the floor and it'll fit there just fine. And also because they're LEDs, you tend to have a little bit more control over the brightness as well as the warmth. But the other problem with panels like this, especially compared to soft boxes, is that the surface area is a lot smaller. You don't get as diffused of a light as you can with a large, cheap soft box. So you don't quite get as smooth of a light over your face. You generally want to use 2, and so I have one on each side of me right now, and they're both turned down to as low as I possibly can, and my forehead is still washed out. I probably can't recommend the Logitech C920 anymore. It just is what it is. Let's go to my favorite setup number 3. Setup number 3. I've got some favorite things, I've got some least favorite things. Roll with me here, okay? I originally set this up for the window to be lighting, which is great because it's obviously the cheapest, as long as you can hang a diffuser in front of it, like I did, which is like a $25 diffusion sheet. It limits where you can place your desk and also what time of day you can stream. Like for example, the reason I'm not using it right now is because it's now 9 p.m. and the sun is gone. I probably should have done the window one first. These videos with multiple setups, it just take a long time. But this is my favorite camera and I wanted to do it justice with good lighting. So I went back to the single softbox setup where you can get some good directional light, some shadows, some depth on your face. It's the lighting I do most often in my YouTube videos. And so I know that you can get really good lighting this way without a lot of really expensive equipment. You'll probably also notice the microphone is the same as the first one. This is actually not the microphone I want to talk about. It's just that while I have a lot of microphones, like too many microphones, I don't have all the microphones. And I'm gonna be real with you guys, I did like a couple hours of research on YouTube looking at some really cheap microphones and they're getting pretty good. Fifine? I know Fifine is known for making super cheap microphones, but they got some pretty good microphones out there right now. And I gotta say, if I were to give another good cheap microphone, I would go with their USB dynamic microphone, the AM8. It looks good, it sounds great for like $60. It's even got some RGB and it's one of the few cheap USB dynamic microphones, so it's going to get rid of some of the background noise like keyboard clicks or that room echo that we all hate but can't get rid of. The camera, however, is one of my favorite budget camera setups. This is the GoPro Hero 4. This thing has a USB port for charging and an HDMI port for clean HDMI out, something that's sometimes rare for older devices. But that means I can get 1080-60 out of this thing completely clean. And there's an advantage to using the Hero 4. If you know anything about the history of GoPros, you know that with the Hero 5, they completely changed their body style. They made it waterproof, so you didn't have to have a waterproof housing. They added the mounts directly to the bottom of it. They added a screen on the back. I mean, everything changed with the 5 to make it a much better action camera, whereas the 4 is missing a lot of these features. However, a lot of these features aren't necessary for streaming. In fact, none of them are necessary for streaming, which means that when people sell their Hero 4 used online, they sell them for really, really cheap because everyone wants the 5 or later. But for streaming, quality is just about the same. So you can go on eBay and find these used Hero 4s for incredibly cheap. I want to say I looked yesterday and found one for less than $20. And then you can connect that either into a cam link, which is less than $100, or a knockoff cam link, which I did another video on. I'm going to link to that down below or put it at the end of the video. And you can get a good cam link knockoff for $70, meaning that you can get this quality camera for less than $100. Now, the major downside to this is that you are buying a used product, and a used old product, and that's not going to be as reliable as something like a new phone or a webcam. Full transparency, I've had a couple problems with GoPros before not connecting properly, so just know that there is a little bit of a risk there. But that's it. Those are my top suggestions for budget gear. Did I hit your top suggestions for budget gear? If I didn't, let me know down below. I need to get into like actual audio interfaces. I know Walmart has one. There's a new cheap one also. That's probably going to go in the mid-range setup video, so make sure you subscribe for that and hit the like button if you're still watching, because you obviously like the video. So hit the like button, helps out a lot. And while you're down there, leave your favorite emoji in the comments if you don't have a budget thing you want to recommend, because they help the video. even if you don't say anything of value. I'll see you guys in the next one, and as always, happy streaming.